Hi everyone, this is Katie from Linguistico and I'd like to welcome you to class. I'll be your teacher for today, and today we're going to talk about the passive voice. The passive voice is a grammatical structure that is used frequently when talking about entertainment, news, art, and trivia. The passive voice is important because you will hear it in daily conversation, especially when you're talking about the topics that we just mentioned. It's also important because the passive voice is used frequently in academia. So, for example, in your textbooks, you'll probably encounter the passive voice. This lesson will teach you how to construct sentences and questions using the passive voice. Play a game of tic-tac-toe to test our knowledge about trivia using the passive voice. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to just wait a minute or so before we start class. And like I mentioned, the passive voice is very important when you're talking about trivia. And we'll explain what trivia means. Have you ever seen a game show? Maybe? Right. So if you've ever seen a game show like Jeopardy or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, those questions all are something called trivia. Trivia is basically just your knowledge about any topic. Okay, so trivia is kind of random knowledge about various topics. Okay, so I see we have Anatoly in the conversation. Can you hear me?
Hello, Katie. Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. How are you doing today?
I am fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm busy, but good. Yeah, let's see. And Anatoly, I'm not sure if you heard the introduction of the class, but today we're going to be talking about the passive voice. So how familiar are you with the passive voice?
I know rules, but I think repeating rules it is very important
Mhm.
because we need to use it automatically without thinking.
Right, exactly. So it's something that you've learned before, but sometimes you have to practice it to keep it fresh.
hmm
Hmm. Right. So like I mentioned today, that's what our topic is going to be about. So we're going to learn how to construct sentences and questions in the passive voice. And when do you use the passive voice? Do you remember?
Yes, when we want to highlight that action from other person or subject.
Hmm. Exactly, right. So sometimes if you want to put more emphasis on the action, you can use the passive voice, like saying the book was written. So you're putting more emphasis on written than who wrote the book. Um, and can you think of any topics where we use the passive voice a lot?
Mm, for example, about using something, this thing is used for something.
Oh, right, that's a good example. Right, so when you're talking about what an item's use is, I didn't think about that one, but that's a good one. Like this is used for snowboarding, or this is used for a certain activity.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Excellent. Right. So that's another one. We also tend to use the passive voice a lot when we're talking about art, um, history, and trivia. And I mentioned at the beginning of the video, but I'm not sure if you saw. Do you know what trivia is?
No, I don't know.
Okay, so trivia is, have you ever seen a game show like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or Jeopardy?
Yes, I saw it.
Okay.
I know. Hmm
Mhm. So trivia is kind of like the questions that they ask on game shows. So it's kind of random knowledge about various topics like art or history.
Mm-hmm.
So near the end of class, what we're going to do is we're going to play a game called tic-tac-toe to test our trivia, and we're going to use the passive voice to talk about, for example, when paintings were painted, when certain movies were made. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to screen share so I can show you the PowerPoint. And I have to do full screen so that way it shows. So it'll look kind of strange at first, but then it'll be okay. All right. So.
By the way, the best way using Google Hangout to open separate window and to share it, because in that case you keep your own window for without switching inside screen inside this window.
Okay.
If we open next window in browser, internet browser, we can share exactly this next video separate window.
Mm-hmm. So how can you explain how to do that? Because I've tried to do that before and I've had some problems with sharing PowerPoint.
Okay. You can see in my desktop now. It is all my desktop. You can see that I have two windows in the system, and where I'm going to share my screen, I am going to share a right window here. It is Google document where I keep class material. I choose in screen share. I choose option share not desktop but only right window. Now start screen and you can see only this window on the second window.
I see. I see. I've tried to do that in the past. The problem is I can go to screen share and then Microsoft PowerPoint, and I can show you this. But the problem is that when I try to go to full screen.
And you can also share Microsoft PowerPoint, I think, only one program. I'm not sure, but it seems that it is very similar. I think screen sharing options allow us to share each program or a window, like internet browser, or I think also PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, but I am not sure.
Right. I think that you can. The only problem that I've had in the past is if I share the PowerPoint like this and I go to the full screen mode, then the person cannot see the slide. But let me try
it. You need not use full screen option for PowerPoint, I think. You need to keep Windows view of PowerPoint.
Oh, okay, so I would have to show it like this then. Right. So yeah, so it's kind of complicated with the PowerPoint, so I'm sorry for all of the technical difficulties. But because what I usually do is I'll show the PowerPoint in full screen mode.
Yes. In that case, maybe your decision is right. In that case, yes.
Right. So I'll start off like that with the full screen, and then at the end of the PowerPoint, I have an activity, so then I'll put it to the other mode.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, but I learned that some things won't show up if it's not full screen for some reason.
Okay. No, it's
right,
okay.
So,
very good.
All right. So can you see that, Anatoly?
Yes. Yes. Very good picture.
Okay. Excellent.
A very clear picture.
That's good. All right. So like I said, in this lesson, we're going to be able to talk about art and history and other topics using the passive voice. And we're going to learn how to form and answer questions as well. And Anatoly, how much do you know about art and history and literature?
I like history and literature. And how much? I don't know how I can answer for this question.
Right. Well, we'll put it to the test at the end of class and see how much you know about some different topics. So the passive voice.
And probably you can see that Ksenia joined us.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. Thank you for mentioning that. Ksenia, can you hear me?
Yes, hello, but I hear you with some problem. Hello?
Okay. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, but not so good.
Not so good. Let me see if I can turn my volume up on my microphone. Maybe that will help.
For me, for
Anatoly,
me,
do you hear Katie good? Well,
yes, for me, Katie's voice sounds good, very good, clear.
maybe I have some problem with my internet.
Right, right. Sometimes there's a delay in the audio because of the internet connection, or just to make sure that your volume is all the way up as well.
Volume is okay, but I'm with internet connection maybe something problem.
Okay, well, hopefully you can hear me okay, Ksenia, and if you have any problems, just let me know later in the class, and we'll try to resolve them. Okay, so Anatoly, could you tell Ksenia what we're working on today?
Yes, we are working with the passive voice, and we are going to play a game, trivia.
Right, so we're working with the passive voice, and then at the end of class, we're going to play a game that talks about art and history and literature, and see how much you guys know about different topics in just like a trivia game.
Okay.
Okay, so first we're going to talk about the passive voice and asking questions and forming sentences. So can any of you describe what is the passive voice? If we look at the sentence, for example, Mark Zuckerberg invented Facebook. This is the active voice. How would we put this into the passive voice?
Facebook was invented.
Exactly, very good, Ksenia. Right, so Facebook was invented by Mark Zuckerberg. And what changes in that construction? What goes first?
Object?
Right, the objects.
Object, yes.
Right, exactly, Ksenia. Right, so you were right the first time. The object goes first. So what is the object in the sentence?
Object, it's Mark Zuckerberg, and subject is Facebook, or a different way?
I think you have
always fixed this subject and object.
Right, let's see, Anatoly, can you help her out?
Facebook is object. Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg is subject.
Right, exactly. Right, so Mark Zuckerberg is the subject, so he's the person who is doing the action, and Facebook is the object. So Facebook, what was invented? Facebook was invented, and that's the object. So in passive voice, what comes first? Not the subject, but the
object.
Right, the object. And then we have was invented by, and then what do we have last?
Subject.
I think you said it. Right, the subject, exactly. And why do you guys think the passive voice is important? When do you think you might use this? Anatoly and I talked a little bit about this, but what are some contexts that you might use the passive voice in?
I don't know, just for different way to speak. It's just to do our speech more colorful and vibrant.
Okay, so it's a way to kind of vary your speech, right? To kind of change things a little bit so that it doesn't all sound the same. And it's also important because it's used frequently in news, entertainment, and academia, or like schooling. So Anatoly, can you read the first sentence that's across from news?
Two policemen were killed.
Okay, and so you see that this is the passive voice because we're not saying so-and-so killed the policeman. We're saying that the policemen were killed. And have you ever listened to the news in English?
Yes.
And do you ever hear constructions like this in the passive voice?
Yes, it is very common form of speech.
Right, exactly. What are some other things in the news that you might hear? Two policemen were killed. Can you think of any other sentences in the passive voice that you might hear on the news?
Um, it was happened in Africa.
Okay, so that one would probably just be the active voice. Like, so something happened in Africa.
Yes, maybe not this. Maybe the crime was committed by two men.
Okay, excellent. Right, very good, Anatoly. So the crime was committed by two men. And like Anatoly and I mentioned before too, sometimes we use the passive voice because we want to put emphasis on the action. So the crime was committed. That's the important part of the sentence. Ksenia, can you think of any other things that you might see in the news with the passive voice?
Yes, the new law was made by government.
Very excellent. Okay, so a new law was made by the government. We could also say something like the store was robbed. So we hear that a lot in the news.
Yes.
Right. And then, Ksenia, can you read the next sentence down, please?
The film was directed by Michael Bay.
Mm-hmm. So with movies and books, we use this a lot as well. And do you know which film was directed by Michael Bay?
No.
Oh, Anatoly, do you know?
I don't know either.
Okay, the movie that was directed by Michael Bay is called Transformers. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's okay. It's not a very good movie. And then, Anatoly, can you read the next sentence down?
Mm-hmm. The company was created in 1998.
Mm-hmm. Right. So if you're reading textbooks, especially about history, a lot of times we'll see this as well. So like the company was created, um, Obama was elected, etc. Whoops. So we mentioned this is the passive voice. Oops. Okay. And so Anatoly and Ksenia, we were talking to you a little bit about when to use the passive voice. So one instance to use it is when you want to emphasize the action. So if we say two men were killed in the robbery, what do you think is most important in this sentence? The fact that the men were killed, or who killed the men?
That the
The
men
first
were
one.
killed. Yes.
Right, exactly, that the men were killed. So sometimes we use the passive voice to put emphasis on the action. We can also use it when the person who does the action is not known or not important. So Anatoly, can you read the first sentence, please?
When the doer is unknown,
Oh, sorry, this sentence under that.
doer.
Yeah, the person, the doer, or the person who does the action.
Okay, is
Uh-huh.
unknown or not important.
Mhm. And can you read the sentence under that?
Her house was broken into last night.
And so in this sentence, do we know who broke into the house?
No, we don't know.
Right, exactly. So that's why we have to use the passive voice. And Ksenia, can you read the next sentence, please?
The movie will be released this June.
Okay, and so in this sentence, do we know who is releasing the movie?
No, just that the movie will be released.
Exactly, right. And that's why we use the passive voice. Oh, Caesar. Oh, and another one is to be tactful or to be polite. So, for example, if we say the car was damaged in a crash, are we saying who damaged the car?
No.
No.
Right. So sometimes we might use the passive voice purposely to leave out the person who is doing the action. So instead of saying, "Oh, my friend damaged the car," it's her fault. I could say the car was damaged, and it kind of takes the blame off of the other person. Okay. And just one thing to note too is that in your English courses, if you're writing an essay, your professors might want you to avoid the passive voice. Have your teachers ever talked to you about whether you should use the active voice or the passive voice?
No.
No. Okay, because sometimes in the United States, professors prefer that you use the active voice instead of the passive voice when writing essays. But the passive voice is used a lot in conversation, and it also has a purpose, like we saw when you want to emphasize the action or the person who does the action is not known. But just to be aware of that, that some professors might have a preference for you to use the active voice. Okay. Right. And then we talked a little bit about how to form the passive voice. So we have our object first, like you mentioned, Ksenia, and then we have our form of be. Okay, so this could be any form of be. It could be in the future, will, or it could be in the past, was, and then the past participle. And the past participle usually ends in ed or en. Okay. So, Anatoly, can you read the first sentence, please?
Twilight was written by Stephanie Meyers.
Excellent. And then, Ksenia, can you read the next sentence, please?
The movies were directed by Almodovar.
Right, and he's a Spanish director. I'm not sure if you know him or not. But in the first sentence, we have was, and then in the second sentence, we have were. Why do we have two different verbs?
Twilight, it's singular, movies, it's plural.
Exactly, Ksenia. Right, exactly. So Twilight is singular, so we say was, and then the movies are plural, so we say were. And then, Anatoly, can you read the next sentence, please?
The best coffee is made in Colombia.
Okay. And then, Ksenia?
Many flowers are exported from Colombia.
And then, so, Anatoly, why do we have two different verbs in this sentence? Is and are?
Because the first one is singular and not counted this coffee, and the second plural.
Right, exactly. So it's just the same rule, but in the present tense. So you always want to make sure that your verb agrees with the number of your subject. Like Anatoly said, coffee is just one thing. You can't count it. But flowers are more than one. Okay. And then, Anatoly, can you read the next sentence?
Twilight was written by two survivors have been found.
Okay, so here we can see that we're using the present perfect, have been found. So we can use any form of the be verb. And then the next one, the movie will be finished in June. So these are just some examples of other verb tenses. So we have the present perfect and the future will be finished. Okay. So just to do some practice before our games, I want you to try to, excuse me, to put these sentences into the passive voice. So what would the first one be?
Transformers was directed by Michael Bay.
Exactly. Good job, Ksenia.
What
about?
Or was. War was. It's a movie, so we should use was, yes? Transformers
exactly, right.
Was directed.
Right, because it's one thing. What if we said the movies?
Were directed.
Exactly. Very good. And then Anatoly, the next one, he made the movie?
The movie was made by him in 2009.
Exactly. And a lot of times people will just leave out the object in that sentence. So they'll just say, he made the movie, or sorry, the movie was made in 2009. You can say by him, but it's something that you don't hear very often. What about this one? This past participle is a little bit different. Do you know what the past participle of wrote is?
Written.
Exactly.
The Fault in Our Stars was written by John Green.
Exactly. And have you read The Fault in Our Stars?
No, I just saw a movie.
Oh, so you saw the movie. Anatoly, did you see the movie?
No, I don't.
Okay, so no, you haven't. Ksenia, what did you think of the movie?
I think it's very depressed movie.
Right, that's why I didn't see it, because it looked like a very depressing movie, so
Yes,
I didn't watch it.
all will die in the end, as usual.
Right,
Sad movie.
right. It is a sad movie. And Anatoly, now you know how the movie ends, so hopefully you didn't want to see it. Because now you know how it ends. And so the next one, he made the movie. What would this be?
The movie was made. It is similar, which I read before. The
Right, so
movie
yeah.
was made in 2009.
Exactly right. So this is similar to the other sentence that you read about Transformers. And then what about the next sentence down here? He filmed the scenes.
The scenes in he filmed the scenes in Amsterdam. The scenes was filmed in Amsterdam by him.
Okay. And then are scenes plural or singular?
Were.
Exactly.
Were
Right.
filmed.
So
Yes, were filmed.
right, exactly. Very good. So the scenes were filmed because it's plural.
Plural.
Were filmed in Amsterdam. Excellent. And then what about this one? This is true, I think.
Justin Bieber was arrested by the police for driving intoxicated.
Exactly. And did you hear the news of this? I think it was quite a while ago, but
Maybe. I think I heard, but not didn't pay much attention of it.
right. That's usually what happens to me too, that I hear news about Justin Bieber, but I don't really pay attention to it. And so to do a little bit of practice, I want you guys to look at the left-hand side of the page, and then match them up to something that makes sense on the right-hand side. So Anatoly, the first one, The Fault in Our Stars, what is one of the options that would make sense?
The Fault in Our Stars was written by John Green.
Exactly. And then I'm not sure if you guys will know the next one, Don Quixote. Have you heard of this book?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what one would make sense for that one?
It was written by Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Close. Do you want to try again?
In Spain? Oh, no, I don't know.
Oh, right, exactly. So
In Spain, yes.
Right. So Don Quixote is set in Spain. Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber was arrested for driving intoxicated.
And then the pyramids?
Were built by the Egyptians.
Exactly. Fast and Furious?
We missed
Twilight we have. I'm sorry, Twilight or Twilight?
Oh, Twilight. Oh, oops, I missed that one. Twilight.
Twilight.
So
It's for you, Natalie, I think.
Maybe Twilight. Twilight was written by Stephanie Myers. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And then Fast and Furious?
I don't know.
Do you have any idea, Anatoly?
Fast and Furious. Not sure.
One may be set in the United States.
Exactly. Peru and Bolivia. This one is a little strange. You kind of have to know history for this one, but
Peru and Bolivia. Maybe was defeated by Chile in a war.
So were defeated, and why do we have were in that sentence?
Because it's two countries. There are
exactly.
two countries. And
Right,
by
so
the way, probably you can't see that Ahmed joined us.
okay, Ahmed, can you hear me? Let's see, we'll check back in with Ahmed in about 5 minutes or so and see if he's there. I know that sometimes his microphone is muted. But Ahmed, if you can hear me, feel free to join in the conversation. We're doing some exercises with the passive voice. Okay, and then so for the last one, 100 Years of Solitude.
Was written by Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Excellent. Great. And then so just one thing before we play our game is if you want to ask a question using the passive voice, you're just going to put your question word. Let's see who. You're going to put your question word first, and then you're going to switch your be verb and your object. So for example, the first one would be, who was Twilight written by? Sometimes you can also hear, by whom was Twilight written? But that's very formal. If you're writing a paper, it would probably be good to use that structure. But in everyday conversation, you would hear, who was Twilight written by? So for the next question, or sorry, for the next sentence, how would we make that into a question?
Who was directed?
Let's see, because we want to. Right, so we're missing one thing. Ksenia, can you help him out? Who were
the movies directed?
Exactly. Right, so who were the movies directed by? Yeah, and our question usually ends with by if we're talking about the person. What about the next sentence? The best coffee is made in Colombia. So what would our question word be for that?
Where is the best coffee made in?
And for this one, you actually wouldn't have to use in. You could just say, where is the best coffee made?
Where is the best coffee? Yes.
Exactly. And Ahmed, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Excellent. So Ahmed, we're talking about the passive voice right now. And how familiar are you with the passive voice?
It's okay. It's I can use.
Okay. All right. So we're just doing some review exercises. Okay. So feel free to contribute. But if you're not talking, please mute your microphone so that way we don't hear the background noises. Right. Thank you. And then so the next one, many flowers are exported. How would we make that into a question?
How many survivors were have been found?
Right, exactly. So how many survivors have been found?
Yes.
And then the last one, Ksenia, the movie will be finished in June.
When will be the movie finished?
Oh, sorry, this one is a little strange. We would have to say, when will the movie be finished? We have to split that verb up.
When will the movie be finished?
Exactly, right. I forgot that one is a little strange. Okay, so now let me exit full screen, and we're going to play a trivia game. Okay, so have you guys played the game Tic-Tac-Toe?
No, I haven't, I think.
Okay, So tic-tac-toe is a game where you have a grid. So you have 2 lines, and you have 2 lines across. And one team is X, and the other team is O. And you try to make a line in X or in O's. So you can make a line horizontally, vertically, diagonally, and if you make a line, then you win. Okay, and I'll show you the PowerPoint so that you can see it. Okay, so for example, if I'm O, oops, sorry about that. Okay, and I have, whoops, I thought that would show. If I'm O and I have O's all across here or up and down, then that means that I win. Does that make sense?
Not completely, but we can start and.
Okay, all right. So we'll split into teams. Okay, so let's see. Ahmed and I can be on a team if that's okay, and then Anatoly and Ksenia, you can be on a team too. Okay, and so what we'll take turns, and the first person is going to ask their partner a question using the passive voice. Okay, so for example, if I'm O, I can ask Ahmed, when was the telephone invented? Okay. And then Ahmed can respond to my question. And if he answers correctly, then we get an O on the spot. If he doesn't, then we don't get an O.
Yes, but try to ask me a simple question to be win.
Okay, let's see. I'll ask you about a different one.
We won't be asking about date. Maybe we will be asking about person who do it.
Right, exactly, Ksenia.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Date is very difficult, yes.
Right, the date is very difficult. So you can ask any question. So you can say maybe who was the telephone invented by, or in what country was the telephone invented. So I'll start off with Ahmed. I'll ask the question, and then I'll say, Ahmed, number 9, who were the pyramids built by?
This is by the oldest Egyptian people.
Okay, so the pyramids were built by the Egyptian people. Okay, Anatoly and Ksenia, it depends on who wants to ask the question first.
I can.
Where is located?
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, I listen to you.
Number 2. Where is located the Colosseum?
It's Italy, Rome.
Okay, so we would have to say, where is this is the Colosseum. Where is the Colosseum located? And then what did you say, Ksenia?
The Colosseum is locating in Rome, Italy.
Exactly. So the Colosseum
located in Rome, Italy.
Exactly. Right. So the Colosseum is located in Rome, Italy. Okay. Yeah, and if you guys can see at the bottom of the page too, we have some of our past participles. So you can see they usually end in ed or en. So you're gonna have your beef, the form of be, and then your past participle. So the Colosseum is located in Rome, Italy. Excellent. Ahmed, let's see. What number do you want to do?
Number 6.
Number 6? Do you want me to ask the question, or do you want to ask the question?
No, my turn. I think that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Who was discovered the electricity?
Okay. So Guys, can you help us put that into passive voice? Because we could say that in active voice. Who discovered electricity? That would be fine. But if we want to put that into the passive voice, what would we have to do? Who was...
The
Who was
electricity.
Okay, so very good, Anatoly. Who was electricity? And then what else are we going to have?
discovered?
Discovered.
And then one last word.
By.
By, exactly. Very good, guys. All right, so who was electricity discovered by? Oh, goodness. Electricity was discovered by... Oh, I'm trying to remember.
Thomas
Benjamin Franklin?
Edison, maybe.
Edison.
Thomas Edison. Okay. We'll just,
Yeah.
since we're doing this for practice, I'll just put that there. Okay.
Mm.
Ksenia and Anatoly?
Okay. Maybe I try 3.
Okay, so number 3.
Oh, 3, yes.
Yes.
In what style this picture was painted?
Ooh, that's a good one. So in what style was this or is this picture painted?
Was this picture painted?
This picture was painted by Van Gogh.
Okay, so we could say that. All right, so if Ksenia asked who was...
Style, I don't
It's
know.
it's the style in the picture, right color. The main color.
Starry, Starry Night, I know the title of this picture.
Color.
Color?
The main color. Yes. Blue. Blue period.
Oh, okay, so it was, so in what style is this picture painted? This picture was painted in the style of the blue period.
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that. That's interesting. Okay, so we'll give that to you. So this is kind of a practice round, so we'll just we'll count that. Okay, and then Ahmed, what number would you like?
5.
5. Okay, so number 5. Let's say who, and I'll type this into chat too. Who was America discovered by? Who was America discovered by?
Discovered by Magellan? No.
You're close. It starts with a C.
So
Anatoly, or actually, well, we can say that.
Columbus.
But it is not for United States.
Oh, right. You're right. No, I'm sorry. I need to review my history. Ahmed, I think you were right. Who did you say?
Columbus?
Did you say something before then? I think you said a different name.
Magellan?
I think that might be right. I'm not sure. Anatoly and Ksenia, do you know?
I think Columbus.
Yes,
Columbus?
Columbus as known discoverers, but many
Christopher
people...
Columbus. I just saw in Yandex, and the answer is Christopher Columbus.
Many people believe that it was discovered much earlier by people from Asia or Europe.
No, it's just fairy tales, I think. But in Wikipedia, in Google, in Yandex, the answer is Christopher Columbus.
Okay, so we'll just say Christopher Columbus, so that it was discovered by Christopher Columbus. But Anatoly, I have heard what you're saying, that a lot of people criticize Columbus because they say that the United States or America was discovered much earlier by other groups of people. But we'll just say Columbus for all intents and purposes. Okay, so Ksenia and Anatoly?
7 maybe, yes?
Okay, 7.
7. Is it my question?
Yes.
Uh, whom was painted the picture Gioconda?
Okay, so we want to say who, and then we have to have our object. So what would we say? Who, or sorry, our
Who was
verb. So who was?
Gioconda painted?
Okay, so we can say who was, and do you know the name of this picture in English?
Mona Lisa.
Exactly, very good, Ksenia. So we could say who was the Mona Lisa painted by, right? So our word order in our passive voice is a little different because we have our question word and then our be verb. And then the object. Okay, so so Ksenia, can you answer that? Who was the Mona Lisa painted by?
The Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci.
Excellent. Okay, so the Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci. Let's see. Ahmed, what number?
We want to win. Need to take the number one.
Right, exactly. So if we want to win, we have to take number one because
I will ask you very simple question. Who was?
But I think the 5 is not right because Ahmed didn't give the right answer on 5. But maybe I'm wrong.
Right, we'll just do this one for practice, and then the next one.
Okay,
yeah,
just
will be a
clear.
little bit more strict. Right, so this will just be a practice round to kind of show you how to play the game, and then the next one will be a little bit more strict and say, okay, that wasn't the right answer, you can't get a point. But Ahmed, what was your question?
Excuse me, Miss Ksenia, because teacher, my partner, it should be we will win this game.
Okay, so Ahmed, right, so just don't worry about it, guys. Number one, Ahmed, what was your question? I heard you start it, but I didn't hear you finish.
Okay, who was the telephone? Who was the telephone ring for you yesterday?
Okay, so we would want to use the passive voice for this. So we could say, who was the telephone? And what's one of the words at the bottom that we could use to in this question?
Ring? You can use ring?
We wouldn't really use ring in the passive voice. When we talk about the passive voice, a lot of times we're talking about who made certain things or when they were made.
Requested. Who was the telephone requested you yesterday?
Let's see. Try to use one of the verbs at the bottom of the page. Ksenia or Anatoly, can you help them out and see what would be a question we could use with the passive voice?
Who was the telephone invented?
Okay, so we can, and then we're missing one word at the end. Who was the telephone?
By.
Invented by?
Invented by, right. Who was the telephone invented by? Oh, oops. Let me. Right, and then so Ahmed, like you were mentioning, in those kinds of sentences, we would probably use the active voice. We talked a little bit about this before you came into class, but if we wanted to say something like, who called you on the telephone yesterday? Or who did you speak to yesterday? Those would all be active voices, and they would sound kind of funny if we tried to put them into the passive voice. The passive voice is usually used with like inventions, talking about who made certain things, when they were made, in what country they were made, etc. Okay, so if we got that, we would win. But let's try a couple more. So Ksenia and Anatoly, do you want to try 4 or 8?
Yes, and what's the answer on 1?
Oh, for 1? Oh, good question. We could say the telephone was invented by, and I think it was Alexander Graham Bell.
No, but this is wrong because I read an article a few weeks ago, and the real man who invented the telephone was the Italian guy Antonio Meucci.
Oh, I've heard that too. Okay, so we'll just we'll just keep it there for now, since this is the practice round. But okay, so Ksenia, you say that the telephone was invented by Meucci?
Was, yes, invented by Antonio Meucci.
Okay, excellent. And then just to get a little bit more practice, could you guys do number 4 or number 8?
Yes, 4.
Okay, 4.
Who was the Harry Potter written by?
Excellent.
The Harry Potter was written by Rowling.
Yes, John Rowling.
Right, so excellent. So Harry Potter was written by J.K. Rowling. Okay, so now that you guys kind of understand how that works, I'll give you an option for our next game. Okay, so do you want to do number 1 or number 2?
Number 2, maybe. I don't know, really.
Anatoly, do you have a preference for 1?
No.
No? Okay, let's see. Ahmed, do you have a preference for doing the first slide or the second?
I think second.
The second? Okay, so we'll just do the second. Okay, so since I started last time, Anatoly and Ksenia, you can start this time.
Can you maximize the page?
I don't think I can. Let me see if I can. Because the thing is, if I do it full screen, then I can't move around the pieces.
I think you can option masштаб. I don't know. On the right below screen, right. You can see 68. Below.
Ah,
Yes.
I see. There you go. Thank you, Anatoly. Okay, so that's
Welcome.
about as big as I can get it. Let me see if I can get it any bigger than this. If I move this over here, maybe if I can get this a little bit bigger.
How we can call it? Mass change
Scale.
size. Scale? Okay.
Or you can say, I'd like to maximize the page, or I'd like to zoom in. Okay. Okay, so Anatoly and Ksenia, you guys can start whenever you're ready.
Number 1.
Okay, number 1. And do you want to be X's or O's?
Whatever.
Okay, you guys can be X then. Okay.
Okay, maybe you start, because I don't know what to ask about this picture.
And then we do have our words at the bottom too to help you guys out.
Which company is sold was Windows XP sold?
Okay, excellent. So what company was Windows? Excellent. Right. So what company was Windows sold by?
The Windows company was sold by the answer on the picture or the different answer?
On the picture above Windows, but it is not clear.
Yes.
Yes.
Right, that was kind of right because we have the answer on the picture. But right, so what company was Windows sold by? Windows was sold by Microsoft. Okay. Ahmed, what picture would you like?
Number 5.
Okay, number 5. Do you want me to ask the question?
Yeah, you can ask if you want.
Okay. All right. Let's say, who was the iPod made by?
It was made by Apple company.
Exactly. So it was made by Apple. Okay. Ksenia and Anatoly?
Maybe 3.
Okay, number 3.
Who was printed on this picture?
Okay.
This picture was printed by Katie, our teacher, in the slide.
Okay, I think, let's see, Ksenia, I think your question, let me remember.
About man, yes. Who is
Okay,
the
so,
man?
right, so
Okay.
I think Ksenia asked who is, this is kind of a different question, who is printed on the picture
Yes.
or who is shown in the picture? And then Anatoly, what would you say?
On this picture is printed Barack Obama.
Okay, and then we actually want Barack Obama first. So Barack Obama is printed on the picture. Okay, excellent. Right, I was thinking, what's another question you guys could ask with that picture? Maybe when was Barack Obama, we could say
Was
elected?
elected. Yeah.
That would be another word that we could use. Okay, excellent. Ahmed, what number would you like?
What do you think?
Let's try number 7. Let's see if you know. Who was Twilight written by?
What is this one? I cannot. Is this? Can you repeat the question? Who was?
Who was Twilight, the book, written by?
I don't know. It's not very clear.
Okay, right. So that's kind of something you might not know. Anatoly or Ksenia, do you know?
Yes, Stephanie Meyer.
Right. That was a question, Ahmed, that we talked about a little earlier in the lesson before you came in. Right. So that was, you guys got that one right. So Ksenia, what would be the whole sentence? Twilight.
Twilight was written by Stephanie Meyer.
Excellent. And then Anatoly and Ksenia, you can pick another picture.
2, I think.
Okay.
But I
number
don't
2.
know what to ask about this picture. Anatoly, can you ask me something simple about this picture? And what is?
Who is drawn on this picture?
Okay, so
Yeva
who is
Luna.
drawn on this? Okay.
Yeva Luna was drawn in this picture, on this picture, or in this picture. Katie.
Let's
Drawn
see. Eva
on
Luna
or
was
in?
drawn. Eva Luna was drawn in this picture, or we could say Eva Luna was drawn on this book. Okay, excellent. So Eva Luna was drawn in this picture or on this book. Excellent. Or we could say, who was Eva Luna written by? Can you see?
Isabel Elind.
Right. So Eva Luna was written by Isabel Allende. Okay, excellent. So you guys win, but we'll practice some other ones before class is over. So good job to the Russians because you have. Okay. And Ahmed, we'll just practice a little bit. Can you think of another number for a question?
Yes, I saw this picture on 6 many times, but I think it's written by Da Vinci also, but I don't know which.
6?
Yes, maybe somebody know.
Ahmed, have you seen the picture for number 6 before, the painting?
No, this first time.
It's a very strange picture, and I forget who is.
Maybe Picasso. No.
Picasso,
Exactly.
maybe. Yes, Picasso.
Right. So what do we have to say? The painting, or the painting's name is actually Guernica. So Guernica.
Yes. Yes.
And what would we have to say? Guernica
Was drawn.
Was
or drawn.
Was printed.
painted. Maybe.
Exactly. Right. So Guernica was painted by Pablo Picasso. Right. And we're almost out of time, guys. But did you think that this lesson kind of helped you practice the passive voice? Maybe it feels a little bit more natural now.
Yes.
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 Excellent. Did you guys like tic-tac-toe?
Yes, we have in Russia, but
Yes.
we have without picture only. How to say? Крестик, I forgot. Anatoly, can you help me? Крест.
Yes,
Крестик.
0 and cross.
Across, yes.
Yes, 0 and cross.
Right, that's how it is in the United States too. Usually we just have a cross or an X and then an O, and we usually don't have pictures, but for this class I put pictures then. Okay. And then right, so we're out of time, guys, but I want to thank you all, Ahmed, Ksenia, and Anatoly, for participating and coming to class. If you want to go to your dashboard, you can leave me feedback, which I would appreciate, and you can also see what classes are coming up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. Take care. Have a nice day. All right, bye, Ahmed. Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you very much. See you.
See you. Take care.
Okay, bye bye.